Hey everybody, I'm going to give you a quick overview of MyMathLab homework. Every week there'll be a couple of homeworks due in this accelerated class, so we're going to be spending a lot of time there. In fact, I would say most of what we do, probably 90% of what we do, is going to be on MyMathLab, so I'm going to get you oriented to that a bit. So if you haven't yet, you can go into the Blackboard shell and you can click on MyMathLab links. This very first link at the top, MyMathLab with Pearson eText Course Home, that should take you to the MyMathLab home. So if you've already registered for the course, for the shell, for the MyMathLab shell, then you'll see a page that looks like this. If you haven't yet, if this is your first time going in, there'll be a couple steps to complete to get put into the class. It'll also ask you for your access code, so you can put that in if you have that already. If you don't have the access code, what you should do is go ahead and you can do a 2-week trial. Just make sure you get your access code by the end of that 2 weeks so you don't get kicked out of the course then, because we don't want, I want you to go ahead and get started, so I don't want you waiting too late because you'll get behind. So there's a few important places. You'll be spending a lot of time here at the homework and quizzes link. This is where you're going to find your homework assignments as well as any quizzes or exams for the class. Or let's see if it'll open up. Well, let's see. It's being a little slow. Let's try to come back into it. Alright, there we go. So you'll see kind of all the assignments that are currently available. They'll usually be available about 2 weeks ahead of time. So I do that so in case you have something going on, you have to go out of town, you have plans, you can kind of plan accordingly, get things done early if you need to. So you can get to the homework here. Another way to get there is if you go back to the Blackboard shell, you can go directly into this link, MyMathLab homework, and it'll take you there as well. You can also go directly into the quizzes or any of the exams. They'll be listed right there. Probably the best way to get there is to check on the calendar. You should check on this every week to make sure that you're up to date on all of the assignments. So you can come down here and see that on Thursday there's 2 homework assignments due, homework 1A and 1B. Over here on Monday, homework number 2 is due. So you can just click on that link and it'll take you directly into the homework. Now, once you're in the homework, these questions on the right, these are what have to be completed for credit, to get credit for the homework. You can see that, like, I attempted this one and got it wrong, I attempted this one and I got it correct. As you get them correct, they'll give you the little check mark. Now, the idea is that on the left are these instructional videos. So what I want you to do is watch these videos, and then after you watch the videos, you can take some notes or whatever you need to, and then you can attempt the questions. Now, of course, you can go back and watch the videos as many times as you'd like to, and use them as reference. And I tried, they're organized really well, so all of these videos, for example, on the left correspond to these 5 problems. Some of these videos, you'll notice they say Murphin at the end. If you see one of those, that's actually a video of me giving like a little mini lecture at a whiteboard. So if you see one of those, that's probably a good place to start, as you'll kind of learn the way that I like to do the problems. And then some of these videos are from MyMathLab. They can be a little bit dated, and some of them you'll see are from like the MXCC Math channel. Those are pretty good as well. So I would start with the Murphin videos if you have one, and then the MXCC Math videos are probably the next best. And then there'll be some videos from MyMathLab. So there's a lot there. So for example, if you click on this one here, you'll notice here's a video of me giving a nice little lecture on solving these types of equations. So like I said, that's a good place to start. If you notice, there's some of these other ones that are created by Pearson. Very similar, but they might actually explain it in maybe a different way. So it's good to kind of watch both and see if there's an explanation that really clicks with you. Now, once you watch those videos, take some notes, you can go in and try some of the questions. So for example, let's look at question 12 because I think it had a lot of stuff. So I've already gotten this one correct. I'm actually going to reload a similar question just to kind of start here. Now, once you get into a homework problem, you'll see that there's a list of all the assigned media that goes along with this type of homework problem. So you can always jump to one of those videos if you want to. while you're in the problem, so that's useful. Another thing is there's a bunch of other types of homework help. If you click on this button, you'll see a bunch of different options. Depending on the problem, you won't see some of these, but typically there's always a view and example. This is a really popular one that students like. This basically shows you a similar type of problem as the one that's listed over here, and it kind of just walks you through step by step with some explanations of how to solve the problem. And then you can go back and try the problem that is on the homework assignment. Another thing you can do is you can click on Help Me Solve This. This is very similar to the Show Me an Example, except for it actually has you kind of walk through and fill out things as you go along. So it's kind of like the Help Me Solve This, but a little more interactive. So that's another good one as well. I would say pretty much every problem has those on there. You might run across one or two. You might run across one or two that doesn't, but pretty much all of the problems will have those kinds of options. You'll notice some of them will have videos. I think in this case the video is like it's the same video we saw a little earlier. But that's in there as well in case I didn't assign one in the assigned media. They might also have some videos associated with them. It also has like an animation for this one. Not all of them have this, but some of them do. So those are similar to the videos that kind of walk you through step by step. The other thing you can do is if you like reading about the problems in the textbooks, if that helps you learn, you can click on this textbook link. It'll actually open up the textbook to that exact section. You do have to run Adobe, so if you're running like Chrome or something, it might ask you to make sure the Adobe is enabled. And then you can read through the material. This is the actual e-text textbook that you can take a look through. So some people like to see examples in text, and that helps them as well. And the last thing is if you try all these and you still can't figure the problem out, you've tried it a couple of times, you can't quite get the answer, you can always click on this Ask My Instructor button. This will send a link to me, to my email, with a link that goes back to this exact problem. So that's actually really handy because I can go back and see exactly what problem you're working on and what answer you put in. So if you do have a question on a specific homework problem you can't figure out, I actually prefer if you do this rather than just emailing me directly, because it saves me some time as I don't have to go through and try to find the problem. The other thing I would just ask that you do is that don't type a statement such that, like something like I can't solve this problem, or I'm lost. Try to have a specific question like, hey, I tried doing this and I couldn't get it to work, so I tried this thing. What am I doing wrong in this particular step? That'll allow me to get you an answer much quicker. So the more detailed you can be, the better for me. So the other thing is, once you are trying these problems, you actually get an unlimited number of attempts. So each one of these problems defaults to 3 initial attempts. So let's say I'm trying to work through this problem, and I get those 2 numbers for my answer. I can check it. It says that's not correct and gives me a little hint. And then I can click check answer again. That was my second time. Okay, so I'm going to go change this. This is my final check, my third check. At this point, it'll actually give me the correct answer, so I can kind of see what the answer should have been. And it's going to put this little X there so I don't get credit for the problem. But that's okay, because what I can do is I can click on similar question, and it'll basically reload the problem. It's the exact same kind of problem with new numbers, so you can go back and you can rework it and try to get the answer from there. So let's see if I can maybe do this one in my head. So let's see, 32 minus 28, 4 divided by, so I think it's going to be -1/5 is one of the answers, and then let's see, 40, 60, I think 3 is the other answer. Let's see. So there you go. So once you get it right, you'll get the check mark, and then you can go on to the next question. And you'll see that when you get one right, it gives you a check mark. And then once you get check marks on all of these questions, then you have full credit on the homework assignment. So if you put the time into it, you can always get 100% on every homework, because you can always just reattempt those questions as many times as you would like to. So that's kind of an overview of the homework. The other space you might be interested in, the other space you might be interested in is there's also a link on the left specifically to get into the textbook, the e-text, without going through the question help. And actually it seems let me get back into the front page here. Yeah, so right here, so if you just want to read through some of the e-text, not in the context of a specific problem, you can click on that, and you can view the e-text for the course. It takes a little while to load up, but it should be relatively easy to navigate once you get it loaded up. Okay, hopefully that's helpful and hope that gets you started. I'm going to make another video that goes over how to do the quizzes, and so you can check that one out after you watch this video.